What's going on?
Guys! It's okay, he just wanted his machete back!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Gallows Podcast, Episode 4, where we discuss the latest and greatest news and information from the horror community. As always, with me today is my delicious co-host, Thomas Paxton. What's up, buddy?
Hey!
How's it going, man?
Hey! I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Sounded like a mafioso right there. Right on. That was hilarious, actually. So today, guys, a lot of content to go over, especially considering that we have Stranger Things Season 3 that we're going to be, Season 3 we're going to be talking about. We're also going to be talking about The Void. It's an awesome movie. I'll get into details a little bit later on in the podcast for sure. But what we're going to do essentially is to kick things off, kind of our standard. We'll go in. I'll fire up the trailer for The Void. We'll check it out. Once that's done, we'll go in. We'll watch the trailer for Stranger Things Season 3. That's actually a pretty long fucking trailer too, just because there's so much stuff going into it. You know
you're talking like 8 hours worth of footage for Stranger Things that we have to review. So you're talking like an 8-hour film, and then like The Void is like an hour and 25, hour and change. So it's really interesting to going between the two different subjects there. And The Void is very interesting. We'll get into it, but it's very, very interesting, very conceptual. It's more conceptual than anything. But yeah, we'll get into it.
Yep.
Yeah, I love Stranger Things.
Yeah, Stranger Things is the shit, man. We'll get into all that stuff, absolutely. The Void is its own little animal, especially considering the content, like what kind of a movie it is. Let's do this. We'll just kick right off, man. Let's go into the trailer. You guys can check it out. You can see for yourselves, and we'll start talking about it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
You.
I can see it all before me. You won't get far.
I need hands up front for your stretcher. Where'd you find this guy?
Give you a copy of Code 3 and I need assist.
you will become something remarkable.
They did killings and sacrifices. You made people change.
Nothing else matters now.
It's not real. It's not real. It's not real.
This isn't the end.
Statistically, you're more likely to die in a hospital than anywhere else.
All right, guys. So, yeah, this movie, directed by Jeremy Gillespie and Steven Kostanski. Best way to describe this, I would say, is if The Thing and Hellraiser had a bebe, this would be that movie. I don't know if you would agree with that, Thomas, but I think that's pretty fucking close.
Oh yeah, I have. Yeah, by the time I got to the end of that and like was watching the bad guy and was watching him talk to the main character Daniel and like the way he was talking, his line delivery, I was like, fucking Hellraiser, man. Like there was so much stuff in this movie, like especially in the third act, where it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare of a movie. And like it takes place, like the trailer said, takes place in the 80s. It's a nice little throwback, you know, when you're going throughout the hospital and you're seeing like the TVs being used and you're seeing the ancient technology to us now, which is funny because it's in Stranger Things too. But like when you see all the technology being used, you're like, oh my God, is this the 80s? And then like you start to notice it's kind of a slow burn. But
it is. Well,
because of how it's like an hour and 25 minutes. So it's not necessarily.
It's not a long movie, actually, man.
Yeah,
it's not long by any means, but it's just it's like for me, talking about like the slow burn, I didn't think it was necessarily a slow burn. It kicks off pretty fast. When it kicks off, it stays constant, intense, and it's almost like for me, it feels like a flip of a switch, and then all of a sudden you're in the shit, and you're like, whoa, how did this happen? What's going on? What's going on? Kind of a feeling, you know? What I mean? Yeah. And what I think is funny. Hey, Rachel, you're awesome. Hi guys. Rachel, what's up?
Yeah, I just saw that. I was like, "Oh, hi, Rachel."
Good call out. We got to pay attention to chat today.
Yeah, so like I found it interesting because like after they get done with the first scene, that kind of like draws you in a little bit because you see him burning a body and you're just like, "What are they doing?" And then like as we get to the hospital and we start meeting the cop and you start getting seeing the cast, and then it doesn't take that long. It takes like maybe 10, 15 minutes.
Probably about tops. 10, 15 minutes tops
before someone
really
dies.
Yeah.
And before shit happens and you start seeing like the tentacles growing out of the body and shit like that, and then it gets really weird.
Needless to fucking say, it gets really fucking weird. Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of influences in this one, I would say safely. Lovecraftian, definitely. The Hellraiser films, yes. And you probably saw a little bit of that in the trailer where you've got the main antagonist, this weird looking guy in like a fucking robe kind of a thing. Yeah. And then obviously The Thing. You can see the whole, body morphing, body horror goodness associated with that, especially with like the prosthetics and everything. So pretty good film. Yeah. I like the lighting in this movie too, like really dark, really sinister. And I think they threw some filters on it also, almost like green filters. I don't know if you noticed that too, but they intentionally went to go for like the 80s look. Kind of like they pointed out in the thing.
It's like they threw a 35 millimeter film grain over top of the filter, and so when I was watching certain scenes in like the hospital, the screenplay itself at the beginning, the first act, was a little disjointed, just a little bit, because like characters would be talking to each other, and you could tell the actors were trying to form a baseline. And then, like, they'd start fighting each other out of nowhere. And so you could tell that, like, Daniel they all had their own little tragedies going on. And that's something that, is common in horror. But, like, one thing I noticed was that, like, as they got to the point where they got to the build-up and they got to the part where the act starts to end, that's when everything started to just go crazy. And as you said, it just moves and moves and moves. And, like
doesn't fucking stop for the rest of the movie, basically.
And when you're talking about the Lovecraftian themes, where, like, I was actually really, like, creeped out because, like, there was the army of the bodies and there was the white robe people with the triangles on their faces.
That was a trip.
I was like going, when he sees them and it's like the ominous music kicks in and you're just like going, what the fuck is going to happen? And then like as someone dies, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And it just goes from there.
Yeah. And transdimensional themes, shit opens up, like portals open up within buildings. Like I said, not to kind of get redundant with stuff, Lovecraft was a big influence for me, or a big thing that I saw in the movie as an influence for the filmmakers, essentially. I mean, those types of movies, like if you're going to combine horror movies together, dude, if you're going to talk about Lovecraftian themes with Hellraiser and The Thing, and you're going to put all that in a little fucking pot and you're going to, fucking stir it and make a movie out of it, that's a good way to go. That's a virtue. That's to the credit of a movie.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I found it interesting, actually. One of my favorite parts of the movie wasn't even the protagonist. You know how normally the last couple of movies we reviewed, I've always talked about the protagonist journey and all that stuff?
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts of the movie was actually the villain.
I agree with you.
Was the doctor.
I agree with you.
It was the guy that was in the movie, and he's like talking to Daniel about how he's transcended death and life, and and that's where the conceptual stuff comes in that I was talking about, where like the screenplay, felt a little rough around the edges at certain parts, but once they got to the point they were trying to get at in the first place, it mind fucks the hell out of you.
Well, here's the other thing too. I was going to say really fast. So, and I like that you bring that up, because I think I thought around the same or along the same lines. So, like with the antagonist, right? You guys probably saw it in the trailer. I think they showed him a couple of times. But the guy who's in the robe and he looks just kind of like he's decomposing. Odd looking fellow, right?
Yeah.
Reminds me a lot of Doug Bradley as Pinhead, in terms of he wasn't necessarily, I don't think, as eloquent as Doug Bradley is in the Pinhead movies, but he's got his own sort of depth to him. Like, you understand why he does the way he does. And this movie's fucking old enough, man. We're gonna unload. Like, we don't have to be spoiler protection time. We will with Stranger Things season 3. This one was wide open. So the guy, the antagonist, basically loses his daughter, and as a result of losing his daughter, it pretty much wrecks him, destroys him, right? Destroys his soul, destroys his fucking spirit. So he decides to go and try to dabble into the occult to try to bring her back. And that's how the plot just unfolds, and you start realizing, okay, I don't understand why all of this shit is happening in the movie. But then as later in the movie he starts telling you these things, you realize, oh God, like that's the whole thing. That's why all this weird shit's going on. He's been building up for this and preparing for this, which is why you have these weird fucking cult members with white robes and triangles on their heads, kind of a thing. You know what I mean? So I think it's a good plot. It just you have to kind of really pay attention. You can't just take this movie and walk the fuck away from it and then hope that, you're going to be able to understand it. You got to follow it and actually be invested in the film, start to finish, to be able to say, oh, okay, now I understand. Otherwise, at the end, you're going to go like, why the fuck is there a floating pyramid in the sky happening right now? All this other weird shit happening, Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that I actually rewinded it a couple times so I could catch details that I may have missed.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that they spend a lot of time, they don't spend a lot of time developing the characters per se. They spend a lot more time telling you what each character's been through their dialogue, and telling you about Daniel's tragedy with I think her name is Harris, or no.
Yeah. Who was no. I know what you mean. You're talking about the wife, right?
Yeah.
I've seen this movie a few times, so I can kind of keep you. I'll have your back, buddy. So Allison, because they lose their child too. Essentially. That's kind of the parallel involved with it, right?
Yeah.
So, the complexity of the relationships, a lot of it is based off of just their experiences and the parallelisms associated with them. The doctor losing his daughter, going the way of the occult and the Lovecraftian elements, and that's when they kick in, versus, the relationship of the two lovers losing their child. And then just, it just basically resonates on both levels, or on both sides of it, the antagonist and the protagonist. I guess that's what you're trying to say, right?
Yeah. So it mirrored really well, especially in the third act. Because right after I got to the third act and I saw in the hero's tale, the traditional descent into hell, I didn't initially get that until I rewound a little bit and was like, wait a minute. They're going down the staircase, which means they're going into hell, essentially. And so,
pretty much.
So they're going to the basement of a hospital, which makes you never want to go to the basement of a hospital ever again. But they go into the basement of the hospital, and suddenly they see all these monsters, and they see this guy repeatedly shoving his head into a nail, and so and this gap of maw of just skull matter and everything.
Yes.
And he's just you're looking around, and you're just what the hell? And it's so intense, and I loved it. I loved that part of the movie the most, was the part where the demons start coming out, and you start realizing, oh shit, they're in some deep shit. This cultist shit is intense. It's insane.
Yeah.
And that's what I love the most about it. And also the fact that near the end of the movie, where they go to the he has this big speech at the end, and he talks to him, and there's a giant triangle behind him.
Yeah.
that was I was ensnared. I was like, holy shit, shit's insane.
Well, the big stuff I got from it, for me, the impact was, and it totally reminded me of Hellraiser. So the hospital, they're like, okay, we have to go down and get fuckhead. That's the antagonist. Okay, we have to go down and get creepy fuckhead. And they're probably in like every horror movie, there's a creepy fuckhead that you have to deal with, right?
Yeah.
So they go and they're going to go downstairs into creepy fuckheads territory. And when they start doing that, because they have walkie-talkies, that's how they're communicating. The girl that's in the other room, she's like, "There's no basement in the fucking hospital. Like, there's nothing down there." And you start going down, and you're like, "Okay, like, this is speaking to your hell comment, man. This is like, oh, all right, there's no fucking basement, so Hellraiser, ding, kind of a thing, because they have the cube, they have the box, Le Marchand configuration, yes." That they open up, and then wherever you are, it's going to take you into that portal. I was loving those themes. That's what I was talking about, the transdimensional aspects of the movie. Kind of.
Oh yeah. And especially when they get to the part where they go through the triangle, like he takes them through the triangle, and then he goes into that other world, and then like the last shot of the movie is just him standing with Daniel, or Daniel standing with
Allison.
With Allison.
Yeah.
And they're standing there, and they're standing in front of the triangle, the big thing, and the camera pans down a little bit, and you're just like going, oh shit, like where are they at? Like, I honestly was reminded of my dad's concept story that he created called Death Planet, and the doctor reminded me of Murder.
Cool title. I like that.
Like, it reminded me of Murdering, because his eyes are gaping, and he's a doctor, and he plays with bodies. So I was like watching this, and I'm like, this is what my dad's story is going to look like. This is amazing. Yeah,
no, it's great. The visuals are great and everything. Really quick, let's go in. Let's address it. Remember, we had to pay attention to chat, Tommy boy. Yeah. So Rachel's like, hey guys. Oh, Rachel's like, cults are never a good idea. It was a mind trip for sure. Yeah, Rachel, I guess. Yeah, she saw The Void too, so she understands the insanity and the madness of it. Kim Roberts. What's up, Kim? How's it going?
Yeah, Kim.
Kim's like, hey Rachel. Well, we love you too, Kim. Jeez, we don't feel the love now. Joking. We love you. We know that you love us. It's okay. There's so much fucking love here.
Yeah, cults suck. Cults are never a good idea.
This cult sucks especially, dude. And they're just that makes it even fucking creepier because of their little white robes and their little triangles on their heads. Why triangles? You sit there and you're like, why triangles? That's just fucking creepy. And the directors are probably like, yes, that is correct. Creep the fuck out. Yes, we like that. Watch our film.
We love your souls.
We love your little souls and the fact that you're watching our movie and you don't like triangles. Yes.
Exactly.
So yeah. Let's talk about, because we talked kind of about the cinematography. So we talked about the grain filters and stuff, right? You were kind of talking about the lens and the aspect ratio and everything. The sound in this movie was pretty good. Like, it was more ambience, right? It wasn't necessarily like conventional tracks or anything, but I thought that it fit well with the overall themes in it. How'd you feel?
Yeah, it worked well. It worked well. Like,
you dig it too. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it was like a pressure cooker, because like as the score would kick in at certain points, especially when like the body started getting taken over the first time, and he's like sitting in that room and he watches as the body starts to form into this giant like tentacle monster, and like you're just like going, oh shit, like Cthulhu, and you're just like, and then the score kicks in, and you're gripped, like you're on the edge of your seat, and you're just like going, holy fuck, what is this?
Just like that with his face. How does that, Thomas, though, really quick though, how does that go again, man? Because that was great.
Holy fuck, what is this?
Just like that, actually. Holy fuck, that face. Yes.
I think I had about 6 serious fuck moments in this movie.
Oh, absolutely. 6 or 7 in the serious fuck moments, Yeah.
Absolutely.
Another thing to talk about, the gore in this movie, okay? I'm a gore hound. I can take this stuff, okay? And I'm pretty desensitized because I just have a love and adoration and appreciation for the horror genre as a whole, okay? So I can watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre all day long. I can watch all kinds of shit, okay? This movie, if you are not a gore hound, might get to you. Might fuck with you just a little bit. A lot of body horror going on. And it's not just like contortion of limbs. I mean, there's like, full body tentacle penetration in several different areas, kind of a thing. Not to say that it's, pornographic. That's not really the way I'm going with it to try to describe it. It's more just, you have tentacles going into people's eyeballs and shit, and just like, just going in and pervading someone's body, almost in their entirety and like popping out of places. It's pretty graphic. So it's done in a very almost like sci-fi extraterrestrial kind of a way, like an alien vibe or feel to it. Yeah. But the level of blood and gore and chunky chunks and pesquedios, you'll be saying, pesquedios. I promise. Yeah.
Oh, so. Yeah. You will, like, if you're someone who's a faint of heart and someone who's like current modern day horror is not nearly as gory as this one was. But there's some of them that are. But like a lot of this movie, like especially when it got to the hell part and they got to like the different demon minions and things like that. Like there's literally a body just like crawling on the ground, and it's like body, like its torso is upside down and its legs are contorted and everything, and it's like, and you're just like going,
that's the body
oh,
horror
shit.
Goodness, yeah, man.
Yep. And so it's like you're watching these bodies contort themselves, you're watching the blood flow. I was reminded of the visuals from the Darren Shan novels, the Demonata series, and I honestly was like going, did they read one of his books when they wrote this?
I'm gonna have to
like
read those. I haven't read those fucking things. See,
they're
you just busted out because you're an amazing writer. You just come out and you're like, oh my god, and the imagery in these books of the blah 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 blah. And I'm like, what the fuck are you even talking about right now, man? And I read, god damn it, I read literature. A lot of classic literature, like Edgar Allan Poe and H.P. Lovecraft and a lot of the greats, okay? But good goddamn boy, like you go out in the middle of fucking nowhere with these books, and I'm like, I have to read these things. They're compelling because if Thomas likes them, I will probably fucking love them.
Oh yeah, you will, especially the Demonata series. Demon Thief, Slaughter.
Really quick. Hold that
Shadow.
thought. Kim's like, is Thomas wearing cat ears?
Yes,
he is wearing.
I
cat
am wearing
ears.
cat ears.
Do you see them? And in fact, Kim, they light the fuck up. They light up cat ears. Yes. They're amazing. They're beautiful. They're ridiculous, and they're amazing in their absurdity.
Especially when we're talking horror.
That's the way. Especially when we're talking horror. Yes, but I love them. They're a virtue. It's fucking Thomas. I mean, that's Thomas for you, man.
Yep, very quirky and spontaneous.
Absolutely, and that's why we have you. And that's why we love you on this fucking show, my friend. Yes.
Yay!
Integral part of the show, sir. You must be here. It's an imperative. Yes. Oh wait, Rachel's like, yeah, he is. They're awesome. Kim's like, laughing my ass off. Excellent. And then heart faces. We love.
We love you, Rachel. We love you. We love you, Kim.
Yeah, we love all of you, especially with fucking little heart faces. That's great. So from here, and you know what? We never really came up with like a conventional rating system. I think we just kind of go with things and talk about it. In terms of this one, okay, let's just do this in its simplicity. Did I like the film? I really like this film. The Void was awesome. I loved it. The story could be at times disjointed, just kind of like not making sense. But I think at the very end, they do wrap it up. They do tie it back up in a nice little horrific bloody bow and give you what you want. And leave you hanging at the very end and wondering what the hell is going to happen next. Because they absolutely, I think, leave it open for a sequel.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Bam, motherfucker! That's how we roll. It's like these weird, it's like a creepy fucking, couple of creepy Siamese fucking twins going on right here, man. That's all I'm saying right now. Just creepy, yeah. Busted out, buddy. What were you going to say? I totally fucked up your train of thought, didn't I? You're welcome.
You did.
You're fucking welcome, bro. Yeah.
So, as far as reviews go, as far as like ratings go, if we're going to give it a rating, I would say I liked the third act the best. By the time we get to the third act, you finally understand why the first act happens. It kind of is missing a second act, at least from my perspective. I would give it a solid 7. I would say it's very solid, very 7.5.
Oh, you motherfucker. You put a number on it. Okay.
If you love gore, you will fucking love this movie. If you love like being mind fucked from hell, and you love Hellraiser, you love all those different movies where like you have this really charismatic, very powerful bad guy, you will fucking love this movie. Yeah. So it's like, that's what I will say. And it definitely leaves room for a sequel. I want to see a sequel.
Mm-hmm. I do too. Absolutely. But you know what? Just because of this, fuck you very much, Thomas. I'm going to give it a 9.5. Fuck it. 9.5 for me. Yes. I really am. I'm sincere when I say 9.5, guys. It's just, I think the pacing it left you wanting more. You weren't sitting there going, oh God, okay, so we're fucking done now. It was like, what is happening? What's going on? Like, what's going to happen next? Bring the next movie on. Fuck. Like that kind of a feeling. Just like that too. That level of energy and enthusiasm.
And now it's my turn. It's my turn
to
say.
Here comes the fucking retort. Here we go.
It's my turn to say. I will measure up to you, meet you halfway, and say about 8.5.
Oh, you can't cop. You cannot cop out and go. What's up with that? Yeah, non-committal motherfucker. That's all right. That's okay. He just knows.
First act could have used work, but overall with the payoffs and the way that, because see, that's the thing with storytelling. If the payoff and the execution is like absolutely amazing, then it makes up for everything at the beginning. if like you get to the end and suddenly they didn't make the journey worth it, and if they built a really awesome first act, suddenly you're just like, wow, that sucked. So this movie really works. It really does.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you in that regard. Like, it does work, and understandably so. Why you fucking caved in and changed your score and made it higher. Yeah, made a very compelling argument, I guess, for that kind of a thing.
I tend to.
Yeah, no, I was talking about me. You jackass. I'm playing with you.
Oh,
I'm playing with you. I'm playing with you.
You also made it compelling. You actually sold me on the movie, actually, because before I wasn't so sure about it because I heard a lot of reviews, and then after you were talking to me about it, you were like, "This is gonna fuck your mind up," and I'm like, "Okay, I'll watch it."
Did I say that? Did I say that? That was almost verbatim. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true, guys. It will fuck your mind up, but it'll be in a good way. You'll say, "Oh my God, I just can't process things anymore because you destroyed my brain." But thank you so much, John, for the recommendation. Appreciate it.
I'm having a Stranger Things overdose. So I was just like watching Stranger Things, and I was watching this, and I was like going, "Oh my God, my mind is fucked."
Oh yeah, and I know I know you're pumped to talk about Stranger Things. I'm excited too. I know your enthusiasm's like through the roof with this thing. So yeah. Our overall impressions of The Void. Great, fantastic movie. It's, I think, coming off of Netflix, if not already gone. So if you guys want to see this thing, you need to get on it like immediately to try to watch it. Outside of that, I think it's on Shudder. So, Shudder's like what, $4.99? Yeah.
I did the free trial.
Go ahead, yeah.
I did the free trial, and I was trying to watch on Netflix. It said not available in my region, and I was like, I'll just go on Shudder, and did the free trial. So yeah. Yep.
So free trial normally every month is $4.99. I can actually advocate Shudder tremendously. It's a great lineup regardless. Even if you don't have Netflix, $4.99 a month, you're getting a shitload of exclusively horror content. It's amazing. So I just sounded like the poster boy for fucking Shudder. Shudder, you're welcome. Okay, if you make money off of this or any kind of revenue, we don't care. We love you. Yeah. So.
Sounds good.
All right. So now I know. Drum roll. You guys want to do Stranger Things? I know the answer is yes. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead. We'll watch the trailer for Stranger Things season 3, and then we'll kick off this motherfucker. I'm excited, and I know Thomas is excited. He's about to pee himself with absolute glee, just like that. Yes. All right, here we go, guys. Boom.
You let us in. And now, you are going to have to let us stay.
Doesn't make sense. I closed the gate.
What if he never left? What if we locked him out here with us? He'd want to attach himself to someone again. A new host.
It's building something.
No matter what happens, we have to stop him. Together.
Now it's time. We are going to end you. We are going to end your friends. And we are going to end everyone.
Our kids are in danger. We need to end this.
I can fight.
Better than any of us. But I need you safe.
What the hell?
I need you to trust me.
All right, guys. So this particular conversation, I don't think is going to be, for the most part, any kind of criticisms. This is going to be, this season was just completely fucking amazing, man. Just knocked it out of the park. Like, if you're going to compare any of the previous seasons, there's no comparison. Duffer Brothers just destroyed it. They fucking crushed it, dude. They really did. I mean, what do you say? I mean, just to start, Thomas, help me here, my friend.
Yes!
Where do we start with this fucking shit?
I love Stranger Things so fucking much. Like,
Here we
season
go. Prepare
one
yourselves.
was... Season one
Rachel's
was,
like, oh my God, I love this show so much. Go, go.
Yes, so season one was like, it came out around the dark time of my life. Season 2 came out around the dark time of my life. And now season 3 has come by to save me, carry me on its magic carpet while Elle helps save the world. And I just was like, this
Summing
show...
it up well, by the way.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, this is great.
The Duffer Brothers directed 4 episodes out of the season. And I pay attention to that shit because I love this fucking show. Like, we watched the first 2 episodes. They set up the thing well. They set up the scene. We're focusing on how their relationships are. We're carrying on from season 2. We're carrying on from the cliffhangers that were left on. And then we're sort of slowly transitioning into who our bad guy is, who our monster is that we're going to be running from. And then we carry it through smoothly. And not even...
Yeah, smoothly.
Okay, normally, there's always a mid-episode slump where you get to episode 4 and 5 and it gets real slow or it gets, weird or whatever. It did not get weird. I was like, oh my God, yes. I love this show so much. Yep,
it's awesome, man. I know. I'm with you. I just can't keep up with that enthusiasm. Good God fucking damn, brother. Woo! Yeah. No, everybody did great, man. Everybody. Yeah. Entire cast associated with this. I mean, okay. And here's the thing that I really, because we got to be careful because we're so used to not spoiling stuff we're accustomed to spoiling things like older movies and stuff. We got to be careful for these guys. But in terms of performances across the board, I felt like, this isn't going to be spoiling it, I don't think. So I'm going to put it out there and you can get mad at me if you want. I don't think it's a spoiler, guys. I fucking promise. So there was the whole culmination of, in previous seasons where, it was always kind of like, Elle, when they would introduce Elle or they want to bring Elle in. Elle was always like the nuclear weapon. She was like the nuclear bomb kind of a thing, right? Whenever they're going and they're trying to face off against the Upside Down. In this one, I felt it was more balanced. I felt like, you didn't necessarily just have Elle as a nuclear bomb, like push the button and they win the day. It was more of a feeling of everybody had to kind of come together as a group. It was more balanced and it felt more like communal. Like everybody had a contribution they had to make that would have, made or broke the dynamic kind of a thing or the plot. How do you feel about that? Kind of the same or?
Yeah. So how I feel about that, and I'm going to go into it. I won't spoil anything.
I know we got to be careful.
I will just simply say, cause I'm very good at doing this now. I used to be terrible at this, but they spend over half the show not focusing on the stuff they focused on before. Where in the first season and the second season, she was the science experiment. They spent a couple episodes going into her past and things like that.
Very cryptic, yeah.
Yeah, in this season, they spent a lot more time pulling back on that and focusing on her relationship with Hopper and focusing on her relationship with what was her boyfriend's name again? Help me out on this.
Name?
The lead guy. His brother went missing in the first season.
Oh, Mike.
Yeah, Mike. I'm terrible with names. So they focused on her relationship. I love the opening scene where he's leaning back on the chair and he's 3 inches. And he's talking about the door, being wider. That plays into the show. But as far as her powers go, what I loved about this season the most was that it felt like a role play session. The entire season felt like one big role play, because in the previous seasons, remember, they're sitting around the desk table, they're talking about the Demogorgon, they're talking about all these monsters, and they're role playing. And then throughout the show, they're the brother Will is can we role play? And they're like, no. And then they're going off on their adventure, and they're dealing with the things they're dealing with. They're going from point A to point B to point C, and her power set was dialed back. And so by the time you actually start to see her use it, everyone else has been forced to measure up. And so you can't just be Elle, press the button, you save the day.
Yeah, exactly.
They have to measure up.
Exactly.
And so they all become a team. They become a cohesive team. It was a very well-balanced season. Yeah. And I love the journeys of all the characters.
Yep, absolutely.
That's what I would say about that one.
Really quick, we've got to do a fact check. Not a fact check, but a fact correction. So it was, in fact, Will that was infected by the Upside Down.
Right.
The boyfriend, Mike. Yeah, because you mentioned that it was Mike who got infected.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got to switch that up because we'll get castrated in the comments. That's my
Okay.
that's my new catchphrase. Castrated in the comments. We want to be careful.
Yeah. Thank you for backing me up.
Make sure everything's accurate. I expect the same. You'll be like, John, however, you must stop for a moment. You were fucking wrong. This is the actual fact. This is the correct information. I'll be like, thank you so much for saving me from a mob, from an obsessed love affair mob that adores Stranger Things.
That shares the same passion as dear old Thomas, yours truly, and Johnny Boy.
We love it so much. That's why we don't want to fuck shit up for you guys when you're watching it and have you frustrated in the comments. You know.
Yep.
So unburden you with that. Absolutely. But yeah, strong performances throughout. Oh, Judy Amber Paxton is here. Welcome.
Hey!
What's up, lady? It's great to have you in here. Absolutely. Right on. Yeah, I don't know if she even knows yet. Yeah, we're talking about Stranger Things, season 3. We're deep into the shit, right? Another thing, it's one of the first things that points out to me that kind of sticks out for me when watching Stranger Things, dude. The soundtrack is fucking amazing. Yeah. Again, amazing. And it's because they do that whole nod to, the 80s nostalgia. I mean, listening to that music, dude, I got all kinds of fucking nostalgic vibes. I mean, a lot of it for me, even though it's not really the same kind of a genre, but I mean, I heard a lot of Tron in there as an example. You know what I mean? So, just really cool throughout, and a lot of ambience. It's not even like tracks that are cohesive, but it just gives you that feeling of, oh my god, 1980s baby. It's just the memories are flooding back. You know
yeah. I was like, because I wasn't an 80s child. I was born 91, but my mom was a heavy 80s girl, and so a lot of the movies I ended up watching, like a lot of movies they talk about in this movie, like Back to the Future, like a few of the other movies that they have where they go in the theater and they actually see the movies that are playing. I was like, oh, that's what that's like to see that movie in the theater, because I was not born yet. And so a lot of the stuff they have, like the soundtracks, the cassettes, all the stuff makes you super nostalgic. Like, oh, I almost wanted to be born, raised in the 80s. But like this movie, the way that they captured the nostalgic feel of it, even gotten the outfits, Billy's hair, the way they got everything. Yeah, the way they got everything.
Yeah, the hair, man. The hair fucking abounds in this thing. Seriously, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful to watch.
And you feel like you're watching The Sandlot sometimes, and The Goonies.
That's a good call out. And The Goonies, yeah. Or E.T. or fucking yeah. The Explorers. I got a lot of the Explorers vibe. That's an old one, guys. That's calling it way out there. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Explorers, but like baby Ethan Hawke is in that one as an example. Yeah, that's a great one. I'm not going to get too much into it. The Explorers. It's not horror, but it starts tugging at my little 80s boy heartstrings. So
I think I remember watching it once on like Stars when I was a kid, when it played, because a lot of movies that my mom loved would always play on Stars or always play on like different movie channels.
Yep.
And that was back when my dad was military, and so he would just blow money on the movie channels because he liked giving my mom the Police Academy series and some of the other stuff that came out back then, which I loved how many pop culture references they had in this.
Oh,
and
shitloads, dude.
Like,
shitloads.
You felt like you were in the 80s, like with her, with the reporters, they were going around doing the investigative work, and then like with like whenever they played the record player stuff, like the sounds, like the radio, and like they would sing the songs, and then like when the kids went off to go do their adventures, and like friggin' Dustin's a beast.
Yeah.
Like he was a whiz, and he's like sitting there talking to Lucas.
Dustin's role in this season was tremendous. It was incredible. Oh, yeah. It was fantastic. Loved it. They really gave him like a lot more to do, a lot more of an emphasis, and it was great. It was a total nod to geekdom. And justifiably so, because geeks are fucking amazing, as we all know in the horror group. Geeks. Yes.
Especially since like over half the time she's trying to prove to him that she's not a nerd, and he's like, embrace it. Like he's all like, you are a nerd. And then like the bickering, the dialogue, the line delivery, like these kids, like they're gonna blow up. Like if this, they've already have blown up, man. If the last two seasons haven't already elevated all their careers, this season alone, that girl who plays
it's like,
Lucas's little sister is gonna fucking blow up.
Can you say job opportunities, perhaps?
Yeah.
In the future? Fuck. Yeah. Rachel's like, everything is so perfectly done. Rachel's like, the My Little Pony thesis. We're going to leave it at that, but you definitely need to learn about the My Little Pony thesis. That is a fantastic fucking thing. We love the My Little Pony thesis. Yes.
Can't go into it without spoiling anything.
No, we can't. We want to so badly, but we won't because we love all of you so much.
Yes.
Now, dude, yeah. Go ahead.
There were so many, like the I don't remember his name. I can never remember his name, but the guy that's the conspiracy theorist, the one that,
you know
like,
what, his name eludes me a lot of the time too, man. So,
but like, yeah, like when he pops up though, like he usually is used as the way to like resolve relationships. Or
Brett Gelman, Gelman, and his name is Murray.
Yeah, Murray. He's one of my favorite characters. And when they first introduced him, I was like, where are they going with him again? Because, you know, they already did the one thing. And then after he starts getting involved in the adventure, I'm just like, yes! And like...
do it again, dude. How does it go? You got to
yes! And it's just
oh my God, it's getting ridiculous in here. It's so great and amazing.
There's like a part in the fucking episode, the one episode in the middle, I think it was, where they're finding out more about the story, like they're finding out more about the mythos of the story, the government stuff, and Hopper's like, I need whiskey, and he's like, I don't have whiskey. He's like, what do you have? I have vodka. And so he's just like, okay. So there's a part where like he grabs the vodka, grabs the 2 cups, sets them on the table, and then they both sit against the stove, and then as he's pouring it, he's just like, shh. And then they both
they just pound
it back, and then all of a sudden he just tilts the ball to the side and goes whoop whoop, and then you go
pound it again. Yeah.
And I was just like going, I love that part. Like it's just so it's like the heart of the show.
Yeah. No, it was interesting. Definitely. The whole banter between them though is a really funny part of it, you know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. With that character in Hopper, it's great. It's outstanding. He's one of those characters that doesn't get a lot of screen time, but when he gets the screen time, he really sticks out, and you want to see more of him. So maybe they'll give him more to do in season 4. Yeah, there's going to be a season 4, guys. Just going to put it out there. Like it's totally set up for that. So that's not killing anything. That's not spoiling anything. That's doing you guys a fucking favor. So,
no, it's not. Like I honestly, if Netflix kills it, like I feel like they're going to lose
idiots
like
if they kill it, dude.
Another quarter of their shares. Because of the fact that they've been axing like Marvel, they've been axing all these other different shows that are on Netflix.
Well, they've only been axing Marvel shit because of the whole Disney conflict. No, we're not going to get into all that. But Netflix having the exclusive for Stranger Things, I think it's in safe hands, man. I'm not even worried about it, and thinking about it and trying to like contemplate, could they fucking get rid of it? It's just like such an invaluable property for them.
It's so endearing and so amazing. Like there's I will not spoil it, but one of my favorite episodes is at the end of the show. I will not spoil it.
Yeah. Which part are you talking about? Don't get too much into it, but
I won't get into it, but there's a part at the end where they're all trying to save the day and a certain song gets played. And it's a song from a very beloved movie.
Okay, don't go there. Don't go there.
You will
don't
absolutely
don't do it.
Love it.
Don't do it. Yeah, leave it.
My heart's saying.
Can't even do it because that is something you do not want to spoil for people, period.
I know.
You can't spoil it for them because it is such an amazing moment.
That's why I tread it so carefully.
If you're an 80s baby or you have a fondness for the material, the source material that you're going to experience the joys with, oh my God, like they knock it out of the fucking park, you guys. They fucking knock it out of the park. It's great. You'll probably be a little teary-eyed, actually. Yeah. You'll cry.
Cried.
If you're a guy, you'll cry. That'll happen.
I cried.
Your little boy inside will start crying and you'll just be like, ah, just like that. Like, ah, I'll do it again for you.
Yeah, got to the end of the show and I cried. I was like, ah.
Yeah. Oh, Rachel's like, so many tears shed in the finale. Oh, fuck, dude. Absolutely. And that was a big component too. Just, they do a lot of, they know where to tug at your heartstrings if you're an 80s baby or if you have an appreciation for these 80s films and these 80s references, They do such a good job to connect that and tie it, and it just adds to the entire interweaving of the material for Stranger Things, the narrative and the story and everything else. So,
one thing I noticed about each episode, by the way, was that as each episode ended, it ended with either a cliffhanger or it ended with some sort of bomb or seed that drew you in. And so each time that episode was ending, you had to click next. You're just like, I have to. And so I felt like this was one of the best fleshed out seasons they've ever had in all of the years of Stranger Things. Mm-hmm. Like all of them.
Yeah, and the other thing too, I know that there were conversations, or not even, there were articles that elaborated on why did they push it back? Why did they wait 2 fucking years to do it? I think a lot of it was with the Duffer Brothers. They wanted to push it back. A lot of it was the production value. They really wanted to bump that up, like with the special effects, which I noticed a dramatic increase in the quality of the special effects. Like when you're talking about the upside down and the creatures and everything, and just the ambience, like the sky lights up and you get some of the upside down environment.
Yeah.
It's fucking badass, man. Yeah, it was worth the 2 years for them to just take their time and, do what they needed to do. And
Dude,
it pays off. Yeah.
It's like it meets the Goonies. Like
Absolutely.
that's like I got halfway through and there was a scene where like a bunch of bodies were lining up and I was like, oh my God, like the Mind Flayer reminds me of it. Like
I can
that's
see that.
what it reminds me.
In certain regards. Yeah, like where it takes over bodies or looks like, I don't know. You're talking about, well, for me, it's not necessarily it, but maybe like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Like that's where I go with it kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
It's like merging of the elements kind of. Like I loved how the season was and I loved how, like I told my aunt, I was like, yeah, it's kind of like Goonies meets It. Like kind of like they go off, they have to go defeat the big bad guy, aka the Mind Flayer, and they have to go and they find out there's some sort of, and that's where you get like the Goonies, or you get like one of those other movies where like the government's involved somehow. You get a bit of that. So
I know
like,
what you're saying, because there are a lot of movies like from the 80s that have that kind of a throwback kind of stuff.
They play around with it. Yeah.
Like War Games was kind of the thing. Totally not horror, but same kind of a thing. The government's behind the stuff, and it gives you that. So
exactly, and that's why I was like going. I was watching this, and because like I'm trying really hard not to get into any of it. I'm just trying to like tease and show all the concepts and like how.
Well,
like,
let me have your back
is.
then. So here's one that really stood out to me, dude, and I was just like, I was almost like peeing myself, like little boy mode, because even with little boy mode, I was allowed to watch this because my parents were amazing in that regard. The Day of the Dead references, dude, like at the very beginning, like in the theater. I was like, holy fuck, they're going here. And it was great. They had the music, the opening, all that stuff that was happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I loved it. Like they were giving Romero like a nod. Absolutely. And his death, which is tragic. It's how it happened recently. Doing that for George Romero, that was some amazing shit, man. I loved it. And they really gave it the nods. Like that was fantastic, right? And those are the little like seeds that are planted. I wouldn't call that an Easter egg, but just the influences of the horror that are in there. There are a lot of other ones. I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but if you watch closely, you'll see that stuff in there and you'll be like, oh my God, that's from the movie, blah, 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 blah. The other thing too was, some of it, because you're right, I want to tread tread carefully when it comes to the content. I don't want to fucking spoil it for anybody, because even talking about little things like that, the Day of the Dead thing, it's pretty inconsequential. It's just really for me as a fan, but some other stuff that I get into, if I try to tie in the themes that they make work that go directly into the story for Stranger Things, but they pull it from different subgenres of movies. Yeah. And make that kind of fit and push the story forward, like references from other movies and stuff that they actually do. They don't just say, there's Day of the Dead because it was on a movie theater screen. They actually take concepts from movies and they put them in to the actual plot or the narrative for Stranger Things. And then they make it work within the context of Stranger Things. But you're like, that is that fucking movie. That's that other movie. Is that the movie? Is that the movie I'm thinking about? That's exactly looks like the other thing. And it is. That's exactly what they did for that.
Every single episode blended so many flavors, so many different ideas, so many different, pop culture references, movies you've seen in the 80s, some movies you've seen in the 90s, and they sort of blended it together into one big sandwich that has like amazing flavor. And like they gave you the extra hot sauce that you needed. They gave you some sweet. They gave you some of that. It's the
ice cream. They gave you the ice cream, and they gave you so many toppings. That's appropriate. Yes. That's appropriate with the whole fucking concept of the thing,
Exactly.
The Baskin Robbins. I did the Baskin Robbins thing, by the way.
Oh, you did?
I did the Baskin Robbins Stranger Thing flavors. Didn't really care for them, honestly. Oh. But I did it because it's Stranger Things. Fuck it. That USS Butterscotch, dude. I can't stand butterscotch. It's disgusting. I hate it, but I did it for Stranger Things. Just so I could say on this podcast, I did the Stranger Things ice cream. I pounded that shit. I ate it. Didn't really enjoy it at all. But it's for you, baby. It's for Stranger Things.
Did they at least have strawberry cheesecake?
No, dude. They didn't have that fucking either. And so I got like the regular shit that I wanted. Strawberry cheesecake is my go-to motherfucker when it comes to ice cream. So I got like, see, good taste. Yeah, pun intended. But yeah, Oreo. I had to do a backup plan. Oreo and then some cookie dough shit. But the USS Butterscotch, if you like butterscotch, it's great. If you like Stranger Things, even if you don't like butterscotch, just get it. You know? Just give in to that, accept it, eat it, go, butterscotch, but Stranger Things carton.
Yep.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yay! And
Yay.
how much do you think they spent on that mall, by the way? Like, they built that mall from scratch.
Yeah, to actually do the prop and make it look like that. I don't know, man. That was a pretty elaborate prop, and it was just oozing fucking 80s, man, the whole time. It was just oozing it out of the neon lights and the fucking stores and everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a kid again walking through the mall. That's exactly what I felt. The one thing that really, oh, dude, it pissed me off. It didn't piss me off. That's dramatic, but I'm a dramatic human being. They didn't do any arcade scenes, dude. You know, it would have been awesome if they would have gone in and done like, well, no, because this is way back though. So this would have been like what, Atari era.
Yeah.
See, I'm almost thinking like Street Fighter era, which was 90s, right? Because that was my childhood. Was Street Fighter, going to the arcade and kick some asses, kind of a thing. Just an arcade, maybe with Pac-Man at least or something, but have them go in and play some arcade games. They didn't even go there, and I was like, that's a fucking bummer. But that's like the only criticism I would have out of the entire fucking season. You know what I mean? And that's just for my little heart, my little boy heart of the 80s, that I would have needed that.
Yeah, I have to say that I was kind of surprised they didn't put more video games in there, especially since like second season focused so much on the arcade.
That's true.
And
that's true.
Like the Nickelcade they had, and then like the first season also kind of focused on that. So when they got to the third season, they didn't put it in there, and they only focused on the mall primarily. And they didn't even have video games really in the mall. I was like,
yeah,
okay then.
Yeah.
But like, you know, my only major criticism of this entire season would be, it's very minor. It's very minor. You know that that Russian dude.
Yeah.
The one that would just pop up. He had no backstory. You just knew that he'd show up and, you know, would try to demolish people.
I don't know if this is going to be a minor spoiler. I'm trying to just do it. It's not a big, it's this Russian dude. It's not a big deal, man.
Yeah. So. He's kind of like a stereotype. And so I
know what you're going to say. If you say the word, I'm going to laugh. Go ahead.
What word?
No. Finish your sentence. Do it.
So he was kind of a stereotype, and he was kind of like a wannabe Frank Castle.
Oh,
dude. And without the tragedy and without like the humanity of Frank Castle, I was kind of bored.
Okay.
And like I was wanting to fast forward through some of the scenes. I was kind of annoyed.
Here's my thing. Guess who that guy was?
Who?
Fucking Terminator, dude. That was the fucking Terminator.
Oh yeah,
he is the Terminator. Like he is the Terminator reference in that entire fucking season. That's the Terminator. You know, when he's walking. Okay, guys, you're going to see it. It's not a big deal. It doesn't really impact anything. He's just a character that you'll see in there. But you will absolutely, if you guys think I'm wrong, definitely sound off. You know what I mean? In the comments. If you've seen the series already or the latest season and you don't agree, fucking blast me for it. It's the Terminator, man. He's fucking walking, dude. And even when he walks, he has this like this exaggerated ka-donk, ka-donk, ka-donk for the sound, right? Because like he's fucking made of metal. When he first came on, in my head, it was dun 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 dun. I did there. I went there, man. That is the fucking Terminator. That was the guy. That was his whole thing. I know they did it on purpose. I fucking know they did, but it was weird because I could see where they would do maybe a parody of the Terminator, and you'd be like, clever reference. That's funny. The guy's kind of like the Terminator, but they tried to play it almost straight with that character and almost kept him in character as like a Terminator. Yeah. It was weird. And that's where for me, it just kind of like pulled me out of it. I'm like, dude, don't keep trying to go with a serious version or incarnation in Stranger Things of a Terminator-esque character. It doesn't work. You know what I mean? Not to mention the fact that he wasn't even a foil. As a second criticism. We found a second one, but
he wasn't a foil or anything. Like he didn't play, like if you removed him from the show and just replaced him with another character, it would have changed nothing in the script, I feel
Actually, he is pretty inconsequential aside from just kind of being a generic baddie.
Yeah, like you remove him and you just replace him with someone else, or you take someone else that was in the show from previous seasons, put him in that role and have him like fight, Hopper or do something else that he was supposed to be doing. Yeah. And you're just like, nothing changes. So I was just like going, this guy kind of is annoying. I get the references and stuff like that, but it didn't play well for me. Agreed. Apparently Rachel says she misses malls being that way.
Yeah.
And
video games, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, and but yeah, as far as this guy goes, like I don't know. There was one of the episodes where I was watching it, and I almost felt like I was watching Captain America: Winter Soldier, because like it was a big
I
fight
can
scene.
absolutely see that fucking that connection because of the whole way they portrayed the Russian guy and like the way that they were. Yeah, I see it. I absolutely see it.
And the flavor kind of contrasts a little bit, but that's my only minor criticism.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I would say it was
small,
a near
dude.
perfect season.
So small, yeah. And then really quick too. So Rachel's, So I missed the malls being that way. I agree. Arcade would have been fantastic. Hell yeah, because Rachel's a gamer. She's a badass gamer too. She's a little badass motherfucker in Gears. I'll tell you right now. don't play her in Gears. She'll stomp your ass. I'm not even joking.
For sure.
Seriously. And then the other one that's kind of sticking out. So she's like, he is so Terminator. Fuck, I know, right, dude? That character is Terminator. Small criticism in the movie, but it is what it is. It's kind of a thing. So we're coming up on time, which was awesome. And we're actually a little bit over, which is great because this has been a really fucking just content-packed episode, right?
Oh, yeah.
But in closing, this season, guys, if you haven't seen it, you owe it to yourself to see this. If you've never seen Stranger Things, Kim, nudge, nudge, because I know Kim. If you haven't seen Stranger Things, like from season 1 to now, get on it and watch it. You will fucking absolutely appreciate it. And especially if you're an 80s baby, it will tug at your heartstrings like no other series, film in recent memory that I can recall. So,
yeah, I would agree with that. I would say Stranger Things every single season seems to take a different spin on their own mythos, and they seem to take a different spin on how they tell the story, but they do it in such an organic way that like it meshes everything together, and so all the characters are like, they show the heart, they show you where you were, they show you where they're gonna go, and it's just so heartfelt. And like when I got to the end, like I felt like I was on a fucking journey with these characters, and I cried at the end of the fucking season.
I'll admit it too. Let's admit it, man. Let's admit our man hearts. We absolutely we cried.
Tears shedding,
baby.
and I just loved it.
It
was so amazing.
Especially the magical scene that Thomas talked about earlier with that we're not going to talk about with the songs. I fucking cried. I did. The little man tear babies came back. My little boy was like crawling out of my face. Oh, I love you. Oh, Duffer Brothers, I love you. Ah, see my hand. Ah, just like that, like creepy shit, but it felt like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. My little boy heart creature was coming out of my fucking body and trying to like grab the Duffer Brothers and say, "We love you so much. We fucking love you."
Oh yeah, they're masters. Like
they are masters of their craft, motherfucker. They really are.
By this point, with them directing like literally half the season, because it was 8 episodes, and them directing 2 at the beginning, 2 at the end, and then like the 4 of them that were in the middle were directed by a couple other people. They had a perfect meshing of everything. Like it was so like the criticism I had earlier about the Terminator guy was so minimal that I honestly forgot that I was annoyed by the time they got to the next scene. And automatically I was laughing, or I was like, oh shit, or I was like, oh my god, you know, and there was so many different emotions that were always radiating. And I packed the season, like I went all the way through it.
Yeah, dude,
overnight.
You crammed that shit. Actually, you binged it. I binged, but I took a break. You didn't even fucking take a break. You like binged the whole thing, didn't you?
Yeah, I just went all the way
shit
through.
with it, which is impressive. Yeah, you have stamina like a Greek god when it comes to binging your Netflix shit. So
true.
Yeah, man. So so we're gonna wrap it up, guys. Like I said, The Void, amazing, kick-ass movie. Definitely watch it. Like I said, Lovecraftian influences. Hellraiser and The Thing. If they had the Bebis, this would be the movie. Amazing. Watch it. Stranger Things season 3. My God, like go see this fucking thing. Go on Netflix right now and just binge it. Even if you have to work tomorrow, the sleep deprivation is worth it. Go do the shit and watch it. Right? Absolutely.
I've had like 3 hours of sleep so far
because
of Stranger Things. Because Stranger Things is amazing, and I love it, and I love the show. If I'm going to give it a rating, I'll give it 9.5.
Yeah. If we're going to try to rate it, it's because it's not perfect, right? Let's do it. Let's 9.5 it. Yeah, 9.5 is a safe bet. Absolutely. That's a good way to go. So, obviously, without question, watch these fucking things, especially Stranger Things. Absolutely. Binge the shit. Yeah, we're getting redundant. But guys, we cannot emphasize it enough. This was an amazing season. Definitely worth it. Leaves it open for another season, which is a great thing. Oh, another thing, stay for the post-credits. Do not just shut off the post-credits, okay? It makes it pretty obvious with the way they set up the credits as they start coming on. I'm just telling you to do you a favor. Just watch throughout the whole thing so you can get the full scope of what could happen moving forward. Yeah, otherwise you're going to be lost. You'll be like, what do you mean? What the fuck happened in the credits?
Yeah,
You're welcome, guys.
I almost missed it, and then Johnny Boy's like, "You have got to go back in there, son." And so I went back in there and watched it, and then I was like, "Oh my god, yes!" And so you're gonna like you will definitely treat yourself well if not only do you go through this entire season, but if you watch that post-credit scene because it'll show you kind of the direction they may be going with the fourth season.
Exactly, precisely, sir. Excellent, well said. Yes. So yeah, guys, we're going to call it here. I was just going to say, again, every week, thank you very much for tuning in, guys. We love all of you. Absolutely. We appreciate you and all the views and everything. And look forward to having you there at the podcast next weekend with some new content. Love all of you. We is out. Peace.
Yay!
Yay!
Bye. Love you.
Love you so much. We love. Bye, everybody.
I'm going to give the people what they want. Sensation, horror, shock. Send them out in the streets to tell their friends how wonderful it is to be scared to death.